Scott Morgan with morganstudios.com, and we have one more lesson before I teach you another tune. And we're going to go over a thing called inversions. An inversion is basically another form of a chord that has a different bass note. So like, I've been talking a lot about triads. So here's your basic C major triad, which is C, E, G. And that is your chord in root position, because the root of the chord is the C here. And you might play a C down here as your bass note. So that's your standard form, but you can also play the same chord starting on an E. And then what you do is you take the C and you move it up an octave. Play it here. So that's also a C chord. Very similar it sounds. And that was what we would call first inversion of the C chord. And you can actually write that kind of thing out, and it would look like this. C chord, the slash, and then after it is the bass note. So that's a C major chord with an E in the bass. And you can actually specify different chords that aren't inversions using that system. Like you could put a D, and then you'd have something that look like this. Anyway, so then second inversion, of course, is where you move the next note up an octave, which is the E. Put it up here. So this is the C major chord in second inversion. And then if you invert again, you're basically at root position again, just an octave up. So, and you can walk up the keyboard like that. So those are all C major chords. And one thing that's really useful about inversions is if you use them properly, you can change chords without having to move your hands so much. Like if you're up playing everything in root position and you want to play an F chord next, you have to jump your hand all the way up here. But if you just play an inversion of the F chord, see, what note could I move to make me stay in the same place? Well, the C is the one that's making us move up, right? So we should put that one down an octave down here, and then we have this chord. Well, that's really easy to switch. So you just go. So now I've just played C, F, C without even moving my hand. And then I could do a G chord. So I'd move the G up an octave. This is the root position. So I could play a whole bunch of different chords without even moving my hand around. So, and also inversions tend to sound really good because you have good voice leading. You get this note moving up, just one note. This one's moving up, just one note, and then back. And then if you move down to the G chord, this note here is moving down. This note here is moving down. Probably only one. And then you with these two examples that I'm picking out, you actually have a note that stays the same. So that note stays the same. And then if you go to the G, this note stayed the same. So that's a little bit of background on inversions, and that'll be important in the next lesson to know. So that's it. Thanks.